you've been a member of that awesome band for 25 years. That's really been a big part of your life.
Yeah. Well, I joined the group in 95. So adding the pandemic has been 27. So
We
now
don't count those 2 years, do we?
you don't count those 2 years? Okay, cool. So that's 25,
Right.
25 active years.
and the OJs are still out there doing it. You still head out on the road with them?
Yeah, actually we go into rehearsal starting May 16th, and we'll go into rehearsal for a month, and then we start our touring June 16th.
Cool, excellent. Well,
Yeah.
we'd love to see you down this part of the world if you can swing it.
Absolutely.
That would be fun. Tell us how you got to become a member of the OJs in the first place.
The short version is Gerald Levert, Eddie's son, and we had formed a friendship, a bond that was like a brotherhood. So I was like maybe, a couple of years older than him. So I was like a big brother to him because Gerald, he didn't have an active big brother at the time in his life. So him and I formed a brotherhood, and I watched Gerald evolve before the records. You know what I'm saying? So we made a pact that whoever made it first, because I had a group called the Deltones, and he actually thought that my group was about to make it because we were recording over at the Gamble and Huff studios in Philadelphia. So everybody had hopes that we were about to make it big out of Cleveland. That didn't pan out the way that everybody thought it was, because Gamble and Huff was actually going to shelve us because they still had the OJs. So they were just waiting on the right time to put us out. And at that time, we didn't want to be shelved. So we didn't get the big contract. Gerald did. And as Gerald started evolving in the business, he never forgot me. So when an opening came for the OJs, he told his father about me. And so I went and auditioned and all of that stuff. But he was adamant to his dad that I would be the perfect replacement. And I made the audition.
Wow.
Out of all the people that they auditioned, I made the audition.
Awesome. Who were you replacing?
I was replacing Sammy Strain.
Okay.
Sammy Strain, he was with the group 16 years. And the OJs went on hiatus for 2 years, believe it or not, 2 years. And Sammy, like myself, Sammy and I, we are on salary. So we only get paid when we work.
Uh-huh.
Unlike the Temptations, they get paid whether they work or not. They get paid a set salary every week, whether they work or not.
Okay.
They still got a check. But us, we make enough money per night that we should be able to sustain. I guess that's the way they feel.
Yeah.
So when they stopped working, Sammy needed to keep working. So Dick Clark did a reunion tour of Little Anthony and the Imperials. And see, Sammy came from Little Anthony and the Imperials. So when he did that reunion tour, Sammy went back to Little Anthony.
He joined them, right? Got it.
And then he stayed. He never came back to the OJs.
Right. And did you grow up being a fan of the OJs?
Yes. They were my superheroes in Cleveland. But in Cleveland, the OJs was everybody's superheroes, because the OJs were the ones who made it really big in the R&B music. Because Bobby Womack came from here too. He came from Cleveland. As such, the Daz Band. But the one who became the superstars was the OJs. So they were like everybody's superheroes.
Right. They were the hometown band.
With me. Yeah, it was. And I never even tried to groom myself to be one of the OJs. I was trying to groom my group to replace like, be the group that replaced the OJs when the OJs started tapering off.
Huh.
Never in a million years that I thought I would be one of them.
And did you grow up really loving their music too?
Yeah. I knew everything about them. I knew everything. I followed the OJs since it was 5 of them. When it was 5 members of the group, I used to watch them. They used to come and do shows in the park, and I would go to the park and just watch them and watch how they drove. I mean, how they wore their clothes, how they moved on stage and sung, and I just like they was. I mean, of course, I love the Temptations and the Whispers, Dramatics, but the OJs were my superheroes.
Yeah, and I mean, especially coming from the same town as you would really
Absolutely.
wish them huge success. How did they get their break in the first place?
How did what?
How did they get their break in the first place?
They kept putting out regional records around the city, that would go, from Ohio to Pennsylvania to New York, and they had little moderate success. But Gamble and Huff saw them one time at the Apollo, and that's when they offered them a contract. And in '72, that's when they released Backstabbers. And after that, they never stopped writing. They never stopped recording hit records. They had a string of hits for 12, 15 years. A string, like everything they threw out there was platinum.
Yeah. We were all in the discos dancing to them, weren't we? And was it Gamble and Huff that was writing all those tunes, or were they writing themselves?
They was writing all their own stuff. They wrote everything. They did everything. I mean, they had other writers that what they call staff writers. They had other writers, Bunny Sigler, Tom Bell, Linda Creed, and they had a lot of other staff writers, but Gamble and Huff were the main guys. Because people would try to write songs for the OJs, hoping that they can get on the album, but you have to beat out Gamble and Huff first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They were huge.
And they were, that's how they were. They were like, okay, you can get on the album if you can, beat out some of the records that we're doing, so.
Which was your favorite OJ's track when you were a young guy?
I think my favorite my favorite OJ songs of all time is Just Let Me Make Love to You.
Why?
But I'm also a huge fan of Message in the Music too.
Tell us about those tracks.
Well, Just Let Me Make Love to You. I guess I'm a little bit more analytical about that record, because the way Eddie sings that record, it's so it's sexy, but at the same time it's powerful, but without being overly aggressive. And then the lyrics are sensuous without being disrespectful. That makes sense?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's not raunchy.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was so clever to be able to put all of that in one song, in one emotion. Like how can you put all of those ingredients together without being a little edgier or one or the other? But it was done. And so that became one of my best OJ songs. Like I said, besides Message in the Music, I think is because it's kind of got a jazzier feel to it, and the way the arrangements were, that's, and I love me. I love music. I'm not saying the song. I'm just saying I love music.
The music,
so I love the
yeah.
arrangements of the music. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So those are some of my favorites. But of course, For the Love of Money and Love Train and I Love Music, and that's only because they became popular and everybody sung them. But I wouldn't put them at the top. They're number one. Just Let Me Make Love to You would be number one, and Message would be number two.
Awesome. And the OJs today are a trio, aren't they? Aren't you?
Myself, ERIC Nolan, Walter Williams Sr., and Eddie Levert Sr. Just us three.
Unbelievable. I mean, Eddie's been doing it since day one.
Yeah, Eddie's been. Look, they got their first hit. They got their first hit in 1972, but they were recording records since like 1957. They was recording that long. Now here we talking about 2000. Well, they cut their
65 years.
Yeah, we cut our last record. We cut our last album in 2019.
Amazing. And Eddie's voice is just as good as it ever was.
Yeah, it's still got some miles on it though. It's got a little bit of miles on it, but
how old is he now?
The 80. He'll be 80 in June.
Oh, awesome. That's awesome. I mean, it must be a real treat for you to work with a legend like him.
It's yeah, the treat, yes, to work with Eddie and to work with Walter, but more than that, the camaraderie of being in the foxhole with those two guys learning to trust me with that position, with the middleman position, the knowledge that I get from them is not only about music, but it's about life. Because I was raised without a dad, so I got the best of both worlds. Walt is definitely like a big brother of mine, and Eddie has a father figure persona. So I got both. I get the best of both worlds, because I'm constantly learning about life, and they're constantly teaching me about life, and they don't mind me asking questions, about something that they may feel like I should have known. But some of the simplest things, it just some of the simplest things you just don't know, because you didn't get taught that. You get taught a lot of things, but some of the things that we take for granted that people should know about, everybody don't really know about some of the simplest things, because sometimes they're not as simple as maybe you think they are.
Yeah, I get it. Absolutely.
Right?
You were with the guys when they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, weren't you?
Yes.
What was that like?
Miss K, listen. When that night happened, I knew how passionate Eddie and Walt was about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So that night, the photographer that was taking pictures for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was asking me to get on stage to take the pictures with the guys. I personally felt that it was their night. I personally felt that they put the work in. I felt like they should get the accolades. I felt like that.
An imposter.
I was a victim of circumstance. In other words, I so happened to be in the group, so I was getting the accolades, but I didn't put in that work.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel like I should take that picture.
Yeah, I get it.
And they kept saying, "You need to take a picture. Your picture gonna be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame." I just didn't feel like I should take that picture. Now I'm in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I'm in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, in the performance part. That's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But the picture, I was actually on the side, and they were pushing me to get in the picture, and I wouldn't get in the picture because I just didn't feel like those guys.
Yeah, you deserved it. They put in the hard miles.
You understand what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
You got 50 years right there.
Yeah.
I only had the time. I had only 10 or 12 years.
Yeah.
I was just, you know what I'm saying? I just happened to be in the place to be, but I didn't put in that work.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel like I should take the picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm in there though.
They pushed you hard enough to get there.
Well, I'm in there. I'm in the performance part of
right.
it in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That's very, very nice of you. It would have been really special. And I mean, just such a buzz to be part of such a legendary group like them. And of course, when Walt and Eric finally leave the group, you'll be the one to carry.
Eddie.
I'm sorry, when Walt and Eddie. I'm sorry, I meant Eddie.
That's right.
When Walt and Eddie finally leave the group, you'll be the one to carry the OJs forward.
I don't know, Miss K. I don't know. I don't know if I really want to do that, because okay, 25, 27 years of being with these guys, I've heard uh, all the stories. I've heard all the blood, sweat, and tears. I've heard, um, having to go in the back door to perform, or couldn't eat food out in, in the out in the areas to where white people was eating. They had to eat their food in the bag. They should have to use the outhouse. It was still black and white water. You know what I'm saying? They drink that.
Yeah.
So my point being is this: all of that, all of those feelings and stuff, they they bring that out in their music and on stage. You know what I mean? So you see all of that hunger, all of the they worked so hard at it, they wanted it so bad, and you see all of that within Eddie and Walter's just demeanor and performance and the way they sing, and I can't duplicate that. I couldn't get. There's nobody I could ever get to replace them that would give me that same feeling on stage. So now at that point, I'm not doing that group any justice of carrying on that name. Now it's just, a cookie cutter group that was manufactured at the Buick plant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so now I'm just going out and getting money. And that's not no fun for me, because I got a chance to witness the other stuff.
Yeah, got it. I mean, the world you grew up in was very different to the world they grew up in, right?
Right. I mean, I came at the tail end of the blatant racism type deal, because I remember seeing that, and I remember witnessing it, but I was too young to actually go through it. My mother went through it, you know what I mean? Eddie and Walter went through it, and like I said, I came on the tail end. So my point is, I don't want to taint the legacy of a super group. So that's why I'm trying to get ERIC NOLAN off the ground and get ERIC NOLAN to where I got records out there by the time they give it up, that I can just go ahead and sustain and keep on. I can keep on making a living.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's ERIC NOLAN.
Yeah. And what sort of music is ERIC NOLAN? How would you describe that?
It's a combination, because I love all these artists so much. Will Downing, it would be a cross between Will Downing, Walter Beasley, Christopher Cross, and Michael Franks.
Oh, nice mix.
So I'll just throw them all
Very
in there,
smooth.
and I grab everything from them. Will Downing is the pioneer that made me want to even do this kind of music. I'm not doing straightforward R&B. I didn't want to be in that lane. I wanted to be in the lane that Will Downing and Kim and all of those guys are in. But Will Downing single-handedly made me want to do this kind of music. Once I heard his music, I was like, oh my God, I love that. I wish I could do that.
Right.
And then when I heard Walter Beasley, and then a guy introduced me to Michael Franks, and I'm like, and then Christopher Cross, and then I got the chance to meet Christopher Cross, and he is humble and pure as he sounds on his records.
Is he?
So I'm like, I'm in heaven right now. Like, that's the kind of music I wanted. I want to do that music. That music has.
Sorry,
that music. That's all right, Miss K. That music to me has no expiration date.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a six-pack. You don't have to be tatted up. You don't have to snatch your shirt off. You don't have to do any of that stuff. All you have to do is just do good music. And that's what I want to do.
Yeah, awesome. We can't wait for that. Christopher Cross, when you met him, was that before he got sick?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And do you know how he is now?
He's back out touring.
Ah, good.
We have the same booking agent. The OJs and Christopher Cross. We have the same booking agent. So our manager, when he started doing Christopher's tour, he started doing Christopher's tour early this year.
Who's that booking agent?
Toby Ludwig.
What's the agency called? I might see if I can track down Christopher Cross for a bit of an interview too.
Yeah. But Toby Ludwig is out of New York, so he
How do
has
you,
direct connect.
how do
Ludwig,
you,
Ludwig.
yeah, great. Okay, awesome. I'll track that down. That's great. And Eric Nolan, I believe you run a radio show of your own in Cleveland, Ohio, too, right? What's that all about?
I'm trying. I listen. I okay. In Cleveland, we had a radio station that played adult contemporary and contemporary jazz, and they was playing all the Will Downing type stuff, that kind of music. And they got bought out, so they went off the air in December of 2019. Well, they were playing a lot of ERIC Nolan records, along with giving a lot of our local entertainment breaks on that radio station because they were independent. Not like the other two stations that we got here, they're corporate owned. So you already know how that goes.
Yep.
They only can play whatever they put in that computer.
Yep.
from somewhere else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
somebody in DC is programming music for Cleveland.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when they went off the air, there's an up and coming radio station here in Cleveland on called WOBU. But it's a community radio station, right?
Yeah.
But they got strong wattage power. And it's a terrestrial FM station. Okay? Nobody even knew it was there. They didn't even know that they were there for 2 years because they didn't have no attraction coming over there.
Right.
So I came up with this bright idea because I was kind of like dibbling dabbling in the radio anyway, but I was recording my show and sending it to DC at WHUR. So I got bit by the bug. So now I go to the station and I say, I have a little radio station, radio show. I would like to bring it over to you guys and not do it out of DC anymore. It was like, oh, we know who you are and you legendary and you this and you that. And they said, yeah, you can have your own show. So they put me on the drive time. Awesome. But they only gave me Mondays at 3:00. But before I got off the air, people were calling in and they gave me Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
Fantastic.
And I'm doing it live. And they wanted to give me a producer and they wanted to give me an engineer, right? And I asked them this is what I asked them, Ms. K. I said, are these people robots? Oh, no. These are live human beings. I said, and if they can do it, then I can do it. Teach me how to do it, and I'll do it all myself. I'll engineer my own show. I'll produce my own show. And you won't have to pay two people or 3 people.
Right.
So they told me, they said, they see what they did was they were putting me on a pedestal as one of the OJs. So they didn't think that I would come in and learn it. Because they was like, oh, we got one of the OJs. But like I tried to explain to them, the OJs is my profession. In the radio world, I'm still a rookie. You know what I mean? This is the beginning. So I got to learn all of the stuff. So I went in there and learned everything. I'm 2 years old now. I've been on air 2 years. I got bit by the bug. I love it. I love radio. I love it. I love
Me
it.
too.
I love it. I love it, Miss K. I love radio. I mean, like, it did fill a void for me during COVID.
Yeah.
Because that I could still keep in touch with people and play music. But the other thing is when I release my records, I got a station that I can play it on. And my station loves me. So they're like, we'll play you 6-8 times a day. And like I said, our wattage power is huge now. I mean, we're competing now. You know what I mean?
Great.
And,
so when are we expecting this new music from Eric Nolan out?
Soon as I sign this deal, they are prepared to release it like 7 days after I've signed.
Fabulous. Well, if you could keep me posted through Kimberly, I'd be really grateful so that we'll make
sure you have it. I'm gonna make sure you have it. Kimberly,
can I get it? That would be great because I'd love to include it in this package.
I'm telling you.
Awesome. Okay, that's great because my little show goes out to about 130 stations right across the world. So that would be great to put it out there.
See, you're huge. See, you big. You big.
No,
time.
I'm not. I'm
yeah,
not at all.
130 stations. Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. Absolutely not. But I specialize in the interviews. I bring my audience as the people that they want to hear from. You know, all the bands that they know and love over time. So it's just such a pleasure to chat to you and to everybody else that I've had to talk to. I love the fact that you're doing new stuff. I love the fact that you're still doing the OJs with those legends in Walter and Eddie. And I really like the fact that you like radio as much as I do too.
Oh man, I love it.